How's it going, everybody? So, today I want to show off this modded GameCube. And on this modded GameCube, the card that I'm showing off today is a 512 gigabyte card. And I'm just going to go through each of the menus and show you some things and try to answer some questions that have been previously asked or how to fix certain issues that may arise. And so the biggest and most important thing with this system is you want to make sure that the SD card that came with the system that has the operating system on it is in slot B on the memory card or on the GameCube. And that would be the farthest slot to the right on your GameCube physically. And you need that because you need slot A to put a GameCube memory card in that slot to save your GameCube games. And for some reason, if it's not pulling up or whatever, sometimes the cards can get configured to slot A from the factory. And so I'm going to show you how to configure it to the right way. So you hit B on the controller, and as you can see on the video here, I'm down here at the bottom in the menu bar. You're going to scroll over to the gear here, which is settings, and hit A. Now you can scroll down with the D-pad, as you see I'm going down here, to where it says configuration devices. Sometimes it will say card slot A, card slot B, whatever you, but what you want to do is if you're having issues where it's not reading the card or an error pops up saying card slot or anything, you want to make sure the card, you swap the card digitally and physically. So what you would do is you would put your card initially in slot A and select slot B or vice versa. So you would go here and you hit A and it will change. Oh, let's see. No. You change it with the directions, sorry. So you would just change it here and you would choose SD card slot A or SD card slot B. And that's how you swap if the card isn't pulling up for some reason. Most of the time you won't have to do this, but sometimes you will, and this is how you fix it. So you put it in slot A and you would choose slot B, or you would put it in slot A and choose slot B or slot A. It just depends on which chipset. But then once you're done there, you just hit save and exit, and it'll exit. I don't need to change mine. So that's how you need to make sure you at least have the SD card that we supply with the GameCube in slot B. So now you're at the bottom and you're still at the settings thing. You can see me down here. I'm going to hit B, and that's going to take me back up to the top menu here, and we're back into Swiss. And Swiss is just the OS that runs on the Pico chip that's internally on the board of the GameCube. So I'm just going to kind of run through some of these things and show you. In the GameCube games, I just hit A, and you can just scroll down through here, and you can just pick a game. I'm just going to click the very first one here, so I hit A over that. And then you can hit A to boot, or if you want to change it in the settings or whatever, and I just hit A and it'll boot right into that game. So I'm going to go back though. And then to go back to the main menu, you need to scroll up, and as you see I'm highlighted at that top bar. So I scroll up and I click that and I'll hit A there. And that'll take me back to the Swiss menu. So let's go to Game Boy. Now, if for some reason it doesn't look like this for you when you hit Game Boy, it may look like this or it may look like that. So if you have any issues or menu issues or whatever you have it, make sure you select the right emulator that you're in. As you can see in the top right, it's called VBAGX. So I'm going to go to VBAGX. See, I'm selected here and I'm going to hit A. And you want to play the games, or in this case, they're called the ROMs. So I hit A on ROMs. And then you have all of your Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color games. And there's some other just Pokemon stuff we tossed in there that you can play with. And then if you want to play a game, you would select this. Now, sometimes this will pop up. That's okay. Um, it's just a configuration thing that it's trying to sort out, but you just hit OK, and then here are all your games. And if you want to go back, you can go, here's Game Boy Advance. There's a lot of Game Boy Advance games. So we broke them up into a little bit smaller folders, so that way it's easier to navigate for you. So you just go click here, and then you can select your game. And then to go choose another game, you need to go to up one level, and then to go back again, and then maybe you want to go to Game Boy Color, and here are your Game Boy Color games. And then when you find a game, you can select it. So let's see, I will select this game, and here we are. All right, and now how to get this menu. So on that menu, let's see which the yellow joystick, go left. So the little C yellow joystick on your GameCube controller, if you're in a game in Game Boy or Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance, you hit left on the yellow C joystick and this menu will pull up. And then you can do some stuff in here, or if you want to go back to the main menu, you just use the D-pad, the directional pad, to select and highlight and hit A. And do you want to quit? Yeah. And then now we're back. And then if you scroll all the way up one level, and here we are. And this is where you need to be if you want to select games or whatever. And then I'm just going to hit B, and that'll go down here to these. And then I'm going to hit A on exit. And we're back. Let's go to Neo Geo. So on here, you can either play a game or you can exit. You don't really have to mess with much of the settings or anything like that, but okay. So I'm going to go back. To go back in Neo Geo CD, you hit the Z. That is the little blue right trigger button on your GameCube controller. You hit Z. And I'm going to go all the way back to kind of show you. So as you could see, I was hitting play game, but I didn't have a game loaded. So it's just going to kind of like blink like that and go back here. To play a game, you need to go down to load new game and hit A. Then SD, that's where all your games are at. So load from SD, and I'm just going to click A on this game. And unfortunately, there's no button sequence to go back to the menu. So in this particular emulator, you're going to actually have to hit the power button on the GameCube itself. And that's what I did there. And then I powered it back on, and now we're back. So that's the Neo Geo stuff. Let's go to N64. So currently, as you can see, I don't have a ROM selected, and I'm using controller and controller port 1. So I'm going to load a ROM. I'm going to hit A on that. Again, load from SD. And on N64, these games are a lot bigger as far as file size goes. So this might take a little bit to load, but you just have to be patient. So we'll let this load, and then I'll show you the N64 games. And here we are. So you just can kind of scroll through here, and if you want to go over a page, you hit right on the D-pad, or left for previous, but we're on page 1, and hit A. And then you can just kind of keep going through here, and if you want to go to previous, go back. But let's do this snowboarding game. So I'm gonna hit A on there. And now it's gonna load the ROMs into, and then you just hit OK. And there's your game. It's 1080 snowboarding. That's the game I selected. And I'm just gonna go ahead and play the game. And here we are. And again, there's no button. And so I powered off the GameCube, and then I powered it back on, and now we're back to the main menu. And let's go to Nintendo Entertainment System, NES. So here we are. It's the same interface that you just saw previously for the Game Boy, but if for some reason again you get to the some random menu, I went back to another one. So you can't go any farther back. Um, if you're for some reason at this menu and you need to first select your slot that your SD card is in, mine is in B. Now I look at the name of the emulator. This is FCE Ultra GH. So on this one, it's called GH, but the file in here is going to be this FCEUGX. That's the file you need to select for NES. Select that, go to your ROMs, your games, and now we're back. And then again, you can just select your game that you want. Let's go to M, and then you just kind of go down here and you find a game you want to play. And then once you find your game, let's do some Mock Rider. Hit A. And here we are. We're in the game. And then again, it's the same thing. It is on the yellow C joystick. Hit left, and this menu will pull up. And then you can have some options in here or whatever you want. And I'm just going to hit A for main menu. And I'm just going to hit OK. Oh, there we go. Yellow is selecting for OK. So you just hit OK there. And now we're back. And then scroll up one level, hit A, and that will take you back to this menu is the menu you're going to need to be at. And then I'm just going to hit B, and I'm going to select the menu down here, and I'm going to hit A on exit. And let's go into Super Nintendo. It's the exact same concept as the NES, same exact everything. If you get stuck on the menus and stuff, it's the same, selecting what you need to select, ROMs. Games, you hit your game, same thing, yellow joystick, take you back. Exact same thing as NES, but it has Super Nintendo games. So we're going to exit there. Let's go to PlayStation. And this is pretty much the same thing as the N64, but it's just PlayStation games. So, and as you can see, there's only 2 controllers because there's only going to be 2 slots for playing PlayStation. So I'm going to load an ISO, that's the type of game. I'm going to load from SD, and then here's a handful of PS1 games that are on the SD card. Not every single PS1 game is compatible, but hey, you're playing some PlayStation on the GameCube, so Can't complain too much. Find a game you want to play. I'm going to pick Batman. And then as you can see on some of these, I'm going to select the very first one here. And then I'm going to hit OK. And there it's loaded there. I'm going to hit play game. And here we are. And again, there is no button sequence to go back. So if I need to go back, I'm just going to power off the GameCube and turn it back on. And here we are again. So, the last but not least, I'm going to select Sega. And then I'm going to hit A. And here we are in the Genesis Plus GX. So I'm going to load a game. And then these are all kind of the same as far as the concept of playing games, but I'm going to go into Mega Drive. And then you just go down here and you just select your game. And some of these games do take a little while to load. I'm going to show you in real time about how long it does take. Again, these games aren't the smallest as far as file size goes, so you're just going to have to be a little patient, but it will work. And here we are. So, to get to this menu, say you're playing your game and you're like, you want to go back. You hit right on the yellow C stick, not left. You hit right. So I'm going to hit right, and then here I am in the options menu if you want to change some things or whatever you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and exit the game, and then I'm going to return to the loader. And here we are. And that is everything that has to do with the modded GameCube. And on the modded GameCube as well, if you are interested in purchasing one, or you want to see more about it, or you have more questions you want to ask, there will be a link in the description below to our Whatnot store. And on Whatnot is where we show and stream. Usually we try to do it every single night, and sometimes during the day, but you can follow us on there, and you can also just ask questions, or if you want to see more information about this GameCube or you want to ask more questions specifically, you can also message us through there. But if you would like to purchase one or anything like that, you just click that link and we will get to you as soon as we can with whatever questions you have, or if you would like to move forward with purchasing. But that is the modded GameCube, and this is the 512 gigabyte SD card build.